tell Commissioner Cromer he's late, he didn't get here this morning.
Is it empty?
No, there's plenty there.
Oh, shoot. No, these are scratched. I was gonna get a different pair.
You need to clean them or that?
No, they're scratched. They're scratched beyond cleaning. So polished down. Have you gone out to Fergie's yet? Fergie's open back there. Pick up one.
Fergie's?
16,000. They used to be here. It's $100 to do bicycle washing. Now there's a couple watered out. That's what we did.
How much is it now?
The basic today until Labor Day is $130.
Are you saying the truck's dirty?
No, I was just wondering if you had done that because I know you take care of your vehicles.
I wasn't familiar with Fergie's.
You always do, you know, the only thing I would tell them, leave the motor alone. I don't need all that shit. Because all it is a dusted tractor. You ready to roll? Do you have that? Do you need that?
No, this is from another meeting.
What?
Oh, yeah, today is this one, budget workshop.
Oh,
We've had a lot of agendas lately.
yeah, no, this one is better. Let's use yours.
Yeah, we're gonna play it. My computer, my computer's together.
What are we gonna start with?
Probably personal.
Okay, we'll whatever.
Good morning, everyone. It's 9:04 a.m. on July the 30th, 2026. We're going to call this meeting to order. This is a special meeting of the Gillespie County Commissioners Court. All members of the Commissioners Court are present. And we have one item on the agenda for today's discussion, which is discussion of budget workshop. Mr. Knightsky, you had signed up to make a public comment.
Good morning, Bruce Gillespie, Gillespie County Citizen. This is a follow-up to the information provided during because of the great flood that we had and I've got two handouts for you. One of them is a request to get soil data that already exists, and the other one is a follow-up on the county engineer to issue a written report. That's the soil data that already exists, and then this is the follow-up. Soil data request. Now, regarding the soil data test, the county engineer implied that you could just dump excess sand and gravel back into the riverbank and then take it back out later if you didn't like that. I don't believe that that's ever been proposed as a standard engineering solution. I think what we should be looking for is the term stabilize, and that is term, nobody used that during the presentation at all last time. We need to be looking at stabilizing the riverbanks in their existing condition. Typically, the way to do that is you get soil test data, which, as I explained, can be expensive. Now, down at Rogers Draw, they did collect the soil test data of the Pedernales River sediments already, and I believe that we're entitled to that documentation. I would be surprised if the engineer didn't have it already. So, number one, I'm asking that she request that data from them, that we can perhaps utilize that in the plan going forward to stabilize the riverbanks. The second document is a follow-up on my request for her to perform a site visit and a notification for the notice of violation actions that have occurred at Rogers Draw. And if I can point out, number one, I requested a written report. And please understand this, written reports are standard operating procedure for engineers. Engineers write reports all the time. It's not unusual for me to expect or anticipate that she'd already done the written report, and not having one yet, having requested, I believe that she should follow up and just provide us with a standard engineer written report on this very serious matter. The following on that, she refused to answer the questions during her turn at the podium, and she left the meeting without responding. And of course, none of you made any objections to her leaving. So again, I'd like to reiterate, written reports are standard, and that's what we need going forward, both for the notice of violation and for any actions taken to stabilize riverbanks.
Mr. Nysky, I have one question. Also, don't forget your books. You mentioned about there already being soil data that's been collected.
Yes, sir.
Who's collected that?
What we had is in our discovery documents, all we have is a date. The date of October 31st, 2024, geotech soil boring, and they have parentheses behind that LCRA.
Okay, I thought you were maybe referring to something that had been done since the incident, but this is older than
This is
prior to
previous.
this.
And it is possible, and I believe that this is very pertinent information and data, because I believe it would reflect a true characterization of the Pedernales River sediments.
All right, thank you. Good morning, Ed. On the email that you sent out yesterday, did you send that to everyone on the Commissioner's Court?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right, just making sure everybody's got a copy. Okay, we're gonna move to item number 2, which is budget workshop. Your stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure.
No, you can put it on this side.
It's fine, I didn't want to get any commingled.
And I can move mine if you need to.
So we've had, I think, 4 workshop meetings to date. Really, the purpose of today's meeting is to tie some loose ends. We need to particularly discuss compensation. If we're going to do a county-wide adjustment in compensation, we can also discuss any individual personnel requests that y'all want to discuss today. The statutory deadline for filing the proposed budget is August 15th, which is approximately 2 weeks from tomorrow. We're going to have to solidify our compensation numbers because we need to post notices for the elected officials on their proposed salaries for the upcoming year, and a few other items that we're going to start running into timeline issues if we don't move forward on some of that.
We have Whitney here as well, and I asked her if she could tell us what we would expect to have expenditures
Okay.
related to the planning for fiscal year 26.
Okay.
So, I mean, she sent us all information on that, but it'd be good if she could give us a quick overview of that, so.
We can do that now. Y'all ready? Okay. So we're going to discuss the budgeting for the planning and hopefully eventual restoration project for the county courthouses, whatever we can get. So I know y'all had a hearing last week, or I guess it was this week. Sorry. At
Monday.
Monday.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you, Donna. Yes, Commissioner Weinheimer, Commissioner Olters, and myself attended a meeting with the Texas Historical Commission on Monday to receive preliminary comments for our submission to the Texas Historical Commission planning grant application, full restoration grant request for the 1939 courthouse. I do have some documents that I did send you all by email, but I also brought a physical copy for your review and comment.
Thank you, ma'am.
As I mentioned, he asked me to take a look at what a proposed schedule might look like if the county chooses to proceed with this process. We were pleased to receive a preliminary approval at Monday's meeting, which should be finalized at tomorrow's official Texas Historical Commissioners meeting in San Angelo, Texas. And we received preliminary approval for a planning grant for the 1939 courthouse only. It did remove the 1882 courthouse planning grant or Pioneer Memorial Library planning grant from that request, and have only approved planning services for the 1939 courthouse. So what I provided you today is a restoration and design schedule that picks up 3 buildings. I'm going to use that term kind of loosely because there's more buildings than just 3 buildings included in this schedule. But we're going to talk about those 3 buildings. One of them is this building that we stand in, the 1939 courthouse. One of them is the Pioneer Memorial Library, or the 1882 courthouse. And then also Annex 2, which is what we're going to call 1 building, but which is technically 3 buildings that we're going to eventually end up with 2 buildings out of. And then I provided 3 individual proposals for each of those buildings for design services, and they are split up accordingly because they have different timeframes that can be associated to them, depending on how the court would like to proceed with whether that needs to be from a budgeting standpoint or simply a timing standpoint. And those are going to be some decisions that the court will need to evaluate and consider, and try to outline that here to be able to give you all some items for consideration based on your budgeting needs. So if we take a look at the design schedule, I start with the 1939 courthouse. If we are to receive approvals tomorrow at the THC Commissioners meeting, that means we have approval for the grant. And we have, I believe you have 30 days in which to engage a design professional in order to start that design process. I will confirm that to ensure that I have understood that process correctly, but that's my understanding. So the clock starts on the planning grant side of this building's work. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean the design professional has to start immediately, but typically they give a 2-year period for the design process for a county courthouse building drawing process. So if you look at the bottom of the first box, I've chosen a September 26 timeframe for the start period of the 1939 courthouse timeframe. I've given approximately 18 months of that design timeframe. That allows adequate time for county review timeframes, interdepartmental discussions, as well as appropriate architectural and engineering design timeframes. I feel like that provides adequate time for all of those processes to occur and meet the needs of all county design requirements. In February of 2028, we would have a 95% set of what are called shovel-ready drawings. That's what is required in order to return back to the THC in order to request a full restoration grant a second time. And that allows us to resubmit at that time to a contractor for updated preliminary bids. This does not necessarily have to go out to a public bid process because we are not formally releasing the project for construction. We're just requesting updated bid documents similar to what we did for this grant application. So that grant application would, in a similar timeframe, go out in May and go into the same grant process that we did this year. Because of that grant application process follows this same year process and potentially could go into construction toward the fall of 2028. So that schedule really sets the time frame for everything else that we're going to talk about. So I've set an approximate courthouse construction date pending we're approved in 2028 round of grant funding, which we're going to keep our fingers crossed that we are. The November 28th date is what sets the next phase, which would be Annex 2. And I mentioned Annex 2 because, as I mentioned to the court, in order to be able to facilitate the rehabilitation of the 1939 courthouse, we have to completely vacate the courthouse. And we have to have an ability to have a new location for all of the departments from the courthouse. And we've discussed utilizing Annex 2 as a portion of the location for some of those departments. And Annex 2 would have a much shorter time frame requirement because we would both have to do design work as well as the construction of that work within the next 2 years. So that that building can be ready when the construction were to commence of the courthouse rehabilitation. So I've provided for that time frame as well. Again, that project would also need design work to start essentially immediately in September. I'd have about 8 to 9 months to do design work, allowing for 12 months of construction of those buildings across the street in order to be able to give the county approximately 2 months or so in order to move, relocate, and be able to prepare for this building to have the ability to be rehabilitated. The last piece that I have on this schedule proposal has a 2-part piece to it, which is the Pioneer Memorial Library, or our 1882 courthouse. That building I'm showing as 2 different options for the county, for the commission and the county to consider. One of them is what I'm calling staggered concurrent work. That work would be slightly advancing that so that we're not starting all 3 projects all at the same time, but still doing it within this fiscal year's budget. So this would be attempting to still get it done, in the next year, That would be having the design work start around November or so, and completing the design work for the Pioneer Memorial Library, completing shortly thereafter. The other option is a non-concurrent work. This would put the Pioneer Memorial Library into next fiscal year's work. That would be something if we wanted, if anything changed with the Texas Historical Commission's grant application process, and there would be a potential for that building to be eligible at that time. It would require an accelerated schedule, but there could be a possibility that we could get that building design work ready in time if we were to push it to next fiscal year's schedule in time for a grant application for the next round of THC funding. Otherwise, we would, that building, because it is a registered Texas Historic Landmark, could have alternative funding opportunities through other preservation-based funding programs that could help to offset some of the costs needed to rehabilitate the Pioneer Memorial Library. Any questions on this?
Yeah, if we chose the concurrent work,